The modern rule of law is quite complicated, chaotic, dynamic, multidirectional at the same time, and is either just careless, indifferent to the people's needs, securities, crises because it just cannot or it just won't do anything to preserve, to protect, to conserve the citizenry's, the people's, the man and women's rights, freedoms, independence, expressions, privileges, etc., or it is so unjust, unfair, unreasonable, arbitrary that no one will ever be able to escape from it, that it literally imprisons, punishes, and puts behind bars basically the good, authentic, truthful, just sort of man and women just because of their critical thinking, just because they are vocal and or talkative or they speak their mind because of their reliability, trustworthiness. So the man and women of individuality, critical thinking, independent behavior, sovereign education, knowledgeability are not only going to be targeted, victimized, criticized by the mass, by the families, educational organizations, and other institutions, but they will also be literally held victims and hostages and prisoners by the rule of law, by the government, obviously for their defiance, for their critical thinking, independent behavior, sovereign action, because they don't need anything, because they just don't have any dependency, reliancy upon anything or anyone. And the system hates that sort of men and women who are into simplicity, humility, straightforwardness, kindness, character, groundedness, who need nothing, who always exercise critical thinking, sovereign behavior, independent mindset in all of their actions, behaviors, habits, so that definitely law can control everything. But except for the taste and differences of the people, all the people have always got essentially their distinctions, differences, dignities into their lives in the form of their religion, language, culture, heritage, literature that they represent alongside the customs. And those things are inevitable and indispensable and imperative also for their sense of significance, dignity, substance, identity, etc. People cannot live without these differences and distinctions because they are necessary imperatives to which they connect to, and they obviously feel familiar by connecting and having all of those things. So the rule of law will be able to control everything, with the exception of the people's differences and distinctions and dignities into their lives. We cannot change the people's behaviors, actions, habits, and the rule of law also will not be able to fundamentally change, control, manipulate, exploit the people's distinctions, differences, opinions, thoughts, ambitions either. It can only control when people violate or when people express critical thinking, but cannot change the imperative habits, thoughts, education, or defiance into our lives in